Morning everybody. Today I'm going to experiment with various underglazes on a red earthenware body that I have been having problems with. So I'm going to retest all my colors to see if I can establish what the problem is. The underglazes will be painted on the red earthenware and then fired at 1000 degrees, which is called a bisque firing. I think some colors are going to work better than others, depending on how I apply them and how thick they are. It's difficult to get the exact thickness of underglazes and stains because stains have different refractory properties, and sometimes they don't mix into my base glaze. So really this is an experiment to test a whole lot of them and then narrow it down to get more specific about the actual ingredients used and the percentage of them. But at the moment I'm using different ones. The store-bought one should work well. The oxides would be problematic, but I do want to see how they behave over a red earthenware body, which is the main idea here. So I've also made a table to match the tile so that I know exactly what I've put on what square, and how many coats. It will depend on the thickness of each glaze. Some will be thicker and I'll use only one coat, some will be thinner. Application is important and that is part of this experiment, but that will come also at a later time. Okay, so to show you the process, this wintergreen, which I'm going to apply now, it should be the consistency of quite a nice thick cream, which that looks quite good. So I'm going to apply it on that right square, which is that one there. It's one coat. It's quite thick, so that actually might be enough. This is black iron oxide from Rangers, which I wanted to try, and this is white slip from CPS, and these are my dry ingredients. Here's a recipe that I use for a white slip, which I found worked well at 1000 degrees. I keep a recipe book of my base glaze. I usually have a white underglaze, which I use ferrofrit or a high alkaline frit, which is a high borate calcium frit, which depending what I can get, and I try them both. I find that the high alkaline frit works well for me on this clay body I'm using. 55% kaolin 30, zircon 10 and silica 15. And then with the colors I add various, and I add a bit of bentonite in the recent one, and I've got a better melt, but slightly worse color covering. It's difficult to get it quite right. Then there are various other things I try. Here is the finished tile now that has been bisque fired. You see that actually some of the colors have started to gloss already. The temperature went a little higher than usual, about 1040. It was difficult to tell because my cones melted only at that, and they were supposed to melt around 1000. That's the problem I have with the kiln I use. It's not accurate. Some are very much more opaque, but colors quite good, and that Greek blue which I mixed is quite nice. I'm going to try that one. This is a yellow I mixed, very melty, and it's sort of a greenish color more than a yellow. I was quite interested in the oxides, and this is a manganese dioxide, which is quite black, although it's quite toxic, so I'm not sure I'm going to use it. That's the whites, the ivory slip, which is quite nice. That's my own white I mixed, which is probably, I added it too thinly. I should have put another layer on. There's that forest green I showed you. Just one layer with a little bit of dabbing on it, and it actually is quite well covering. It covers quite well. These blues have got too much cobalt oxide in, which is very melty, and it's made them melt quite a lot. My blues are difficult to get out. So yeah, the reds were interesting as well. This is a red I mixed up with a red stain, and I'm quite interested in that color. This is a coral red from CPS, which I'm not that happy with. It's too brick red for my liking. But yeah, now I can move on with actually trying them on a body and then glazing it and see how that works.